started because we're not going to have long. So what I would like to do this evening is to make our hinges and possibly make this first page here, but we'll see how we get on because the hinges are probably going to take a bit of time. I want to attach them to our book as well. So let's get started. You are going to need a piece of 12 by 12 for this first bit, for the hinges. And I need you to cut a piece that is 10 by 10.5 inches. Evening, Sue. So yeah, 10 by 10.5 inches. Okay. Right, and once you've done that, we're going to get out our scoreboards and we are going to score on the 10.5 inch side, which means that the 10.5 inch piece goes at the top of our board. Okay, and I want you to score, and I'm going to have to read my notes here because I can't remember. I want you to score on the 10.5 inch side at 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. I can hear a cat yowling. Did you hear that?
Yes.
What's
it's Loki?
It's Loki. All right. 4 inches, 4.25 inches, 5.25 inches, 6.25 inches, 6.5 inches, 7.5 inches and 8.5 inches. So what we've got here are our 3 hinges, and they're quite wide hinges. They're 1 inch, so I've done them a little bit wider than usual, and we've got a 1/4 inch gusset. Yeah, just checking that was right. So there we go. Evening, Michelle. Okay, so I'm just knocking everything over here. So what I want you to do now you've got that. So what you've got here, I don't know how well this is going to show up on the screen actually because it's white and it never really helps, is you've got those 2 bits here, those 2 inch bits, they form your fin, which is where you're binding, which is what forms your binding. You've got a 1/4 inch gusset, then in 2 inches for the next fin, a 1/4 inch gusset, and then the last fin with 2 inch wings at either side. So what we're going to do now is we are going to put, why have I done mine in white? My book's black. This book is just doing my head in. Hang on, let's do that again. For goodness sake, now I've got to find some black card. That's going to be easier said than done. Let's try again.
I'm not typing it again.
Well, I don't know, I might need to know. You might have to do it. So, I'll tell you what, let's cut our hinges at 10 by 10.5. Okay, and now I'm going to score on the 10.5 inch side at 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4.25 inches, 5.25 inches, 6.25 inches, 6.5 inches, 7.5 inches, and 8.5 inches. Right. I think he might be D. I don't know what's going on. It's been a bit of a week, really. Nothing has quite been achieved that was meant to be achieved. Good evening, Karen. Hi, Sarah. Right, okay, so there you go. And now you can see my score line's much better. So here you've got your fins of your binding, 3 of those, and then you've got the 1/4 inch gusset in between. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make our Wendy. behave. I saw that. I read that. I'm just ignoring you. Right, so now what we're going to do is make the hinges. So I find it's probably going to be easier for me to show you rather than try and explain it if you haven't made hidden hinge binding before. Has anybody not made it before? No, you have. So if I just fold this, it'll then become quite clear, I hope, what it's supposed to look like. She says, hopefully. So let me just get it folded and then you can see. So I've just very quickly folded this and I'll go over it again. But what you're going to end up with is 3 hinges folded like that, okay? So that is going to go into the spine of your book, and this is what we are going to attach the pages to. Evening, Margaret. Evening, Bianca. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to fold those like that. So we have got, when we glue it all together, we've got 3 hinges and we've got these 2-inch wings at either side. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that where we've got the 2 inches, so like at the beginning there, every time we've got 2 inches, in the middle of those 2 inches, you need a mountain fold, which means it's one that sticks up. And then the gussets are exactly what they sound like. They sit on your spine to make a bit of space in between each of the pages. So your hinge, your hinges that go on the spine will look like that. So you've got a mountain fold here in the middle and there, and that is going to form the top part of your hinges. Okay, does this make sense to everybody? And then you've got the gussets in between, and that's what's going to attach to our spine. So you're folding it like that. So you've got a mountain and then a valley, a mountain and a valley, and then a mountain. Okay, for those of you who haven't done it before, how are you getting on? Hey Catherine, I'm having my hair cut in the morning. Can't wait. Yeah, Mark's really pleased about it because I'm having his most unfavourite haircut ever. And I've waited for 10 years to have this haircut, and now he's stuck with me. So I figured I'd finally go for it. Yeah, that's it. He's stuck now. So yeah, I can't wait. 9 o'clock in the morning. And my hair is so long. I can't remember the last time I had it this long, and most of it's coming off. Well, no, not most of it. Half of it's coming off, which is good. So anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm really excited about it because I never go to the hairdressers. So for those of you who haven't made hidden hinge binding before, is this making sense? Are you all comfortable? Oh, Jill, we need photos. What am I doing to it? I'm having a bob. I'm having a long... I'm having a long bob. I want it a bit shorter at the back and a bit longer at the front, but it's going to be like longer than shoulder length. It's not going to be short. I don't do short hair. But at the moment, it's very, very, very long. Right, okay, so are we good with that? We've got it. Brilliant, Michelle. Good to hear. Yeah, anybody stuck? Or are we all still happy with how to fold it? Right, now we need to glue it together. We haven't... Do I have to discuss my hair plans with you, Mel? I don't discuss them with my husband. No. Only because I know he's going to get upset. Right, here's how I do the hinges. Get some double-sided tape. Evening, Jane. And I pop a little bit onto each of the fins. I don't know what to call them. I guess we'll call them fins for now. Yeah. We'll call them, yeah. Just so that it holds it together when I glue it. Okay. So, oh dear, I'm doing to my double-sided tape. I'm going to get some glue, which is probably... Hi, Rianne. I haven't used it since last night, so I don't know whether it's... Oh, yes, it is. And I'm just going to put some glue onto the fin like that, just on one side. Okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it now so that that fin sticks together. And I'm going to use my bone folder and just make sure that I've got a really, really, really good adhesion there. Okay, so my binding now looks like that because I've stuck those two bits together. Okay, right, and now we're going to do the next one. So I'm going to take that double-sided tape backing off there. Oh. Pop some glue onto there, and I'm just going to fold that over so that I've now got two folded and a gusset in between. I'm just going to use my bone folder just to make sure that that's got a really good sharp crease. Oh, big boners, I've got news. If you're after one, might have been able to source some more, that's all I'm saying. Right, so now we've got two hinges made. So here are our hinges, and there's our gusset, and this is the wing that that's gonna help attach to the spine of our book. So now we're going to do the last one. So I'm going to just take the tape off, and I'm just going to stick some glue onto that final spine there. I'm going to glue that down, just burnish it. And now we have got, she says hopefully, yep, ish, we have got our 3 hinges made for the spine. All right, and they've got a 1/4 of an inch gusset there, and the back looks like that, except not with cat hair. Hopefully yours won't have cat hair. Okay, so that's what it looks like on the back. I always think it's terribly pretty on the back, and it's a real shame that we have to cover it by, you know, sticking it on our spine, really. And that's the front. Okay, so just from the top you've got your 2 wings. This is going to help attach it to the spine of our book, and then we've got our 3 bits there. Okay, are we doing good? We all right? We all understand? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that it's got a really good crease again. I just like going over it just to make sure that everything sits straight and where it should. And now what I want us to do is attach it to our book covers. So tell me, who has folded their book cover and who hasn't? I haven't, because I'm a good girl. It's on the floor, but I still haven't folded it. So here's my cover from last week, which is covered in cat fur and God knows what else. All right, and then this is the other side that I messed up. So I had a few incidents last week, as you know. So this is the spine of my book, and I reckon now I'm going to be able to fold that up. So that is now my book's folded and ready to go, apart from the appalling bit of messing about I did there. That was not quite ideal, but whatever. Okay, so that's the cover of my book. Good girl, Dee. I'm proud of you. So what I want to do now is I want to attach my fins to my book. And these fins are going to sit right in the middle of the spine. Now, unlike a lot of books, this hinge fits exactly top to bottom of the spine. Sometimes you get a little gap, 1/4 of an inch or so, but I wanted this book to be flush. So as you can see, when you open up the pages, they're flush to the top and the bottom of the book. That's a bit of an unusual way of doing it, I think, but I just wanted to try something a bit different. But what we have to do now is attach these to here, and there isn't going to be any leeway top to bottom, but we need to make sure that we get it in the middle of the spine. Now, if I glue that there, I'm not going to know for sure that I'm right in the middle of the spine. So I'm going to measure it. And I'm going to grip myself a pencil and I'm going to make myself a little mark. A little mark. One's bad enough. I don't want two about the place. Anyway, right, my spine is 1.5 inches. So, dear, what's half of an inch? No, it's 1 inch wide, isn't it? Is it 1 inch? Yes, it's so half an inch. So I need to figure out where half an inch is and just mark it on my book on both ends of the spine. This is going to be my bottom bit, I think, when I'm done, because I've messed this up.
Sue has if she can use something else instead of the large paper.
You just need some thick cardboard. You can stick together things like, I don't know, cereal boxes maybe, something like that. You could stick a few together. Oh, was it Helen was sticking together the backs of some paper packs? It is quite thick because it's quite a big book. So I used like 1.5 inches, 1.5 millimetre and a half in thick grey board. Mount board, you know, that you use for mounting pictures, that would do. Just trying to think. What else could you use? Yeah. I'll have a think, Sue. Right, okay, so now I want to attach this to my spine. And we know where the middle of this hinges because it's the middle wing, the middle fin of the hinges. And I've made, and I don't know if you can see it, but I've made a little tiny pencil mark in the middle of my spine there. I think you can probably see that. And I've made it on the edge so that I can make sure that I line up my hinge. So this bit is really important. We need to be really, really careful about how we glue this on, because we want as good an adhesion as we can possibly get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some double-sided tape and I'm just going to put it on in a couple of places, because I want this to make sure that it stays in the right place whilst the wet glue dries. Okay, so I'm just going to put some little bits on just to give me a little bit of coverage. Okay, I'll take that off. And now I want to put some wet glue on. And I want to make sure that I am covering every part of this hinge unit with wet glue. I don't want too much wet glue because it splodges out everywhere. But I want to make sure that I've got enough so that I get a really, really, really good stick. And the most important bit of all is the back of these hinges. So I am going to make sure that I have got plenty of glue on the back of those hinges. Okay, ugh, stuck to me now. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so plenty of glue. All right. Now I am going to attach this to my book. And because I've already made those pencil marks, I can work out where it goes on the bottom there. But I'm just going to make sure, so it's going to go off shot slightly, that it lines up at the top as well. I'm just going to make sure that that is straight before I get it stuck down completely. Because after the other problems I've had with this book, I want to make sure that this is right. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now what I want to do is make sure that this is stuck down to the spine as well as possible. And I'm going to just use my bone folder just to get that stuck down to the back of my book as much as possible. It needs to be stuck. I don't want any gaps in it. I don't want these bits to come up. I want it stuck to the back of the book totally and utterly, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to keep making sure, going backwards and forwards with my bone folder, just to make sure that this is stuck down as well as it possibly can be. Really, really important. So I've lined it up and I've stuck it down, and I've made sure that it lines up with both of my pencil marks, and I've made sure that the gussets stick down really well onto the back. And over the next 5 or 10 minutes, I might just come back to that and just have a look and just make sure that it's stuck down really well. Okay, now we're actually going to leave this for a week. I don't want to see any folding. I don't, you know, because we want to make sure, normally I'd only leave it like 24 hours, but as we're not going to get together for a week, that's why I'm saying we're going to leave it for a week before we fold it. But we just need to make sure that this bit is glued and stuck and dried as good as possible, because this is what forms the strength in our book. Okay, so is anybody working along with me, and have we got the hang of that? Does that make sense? Are we good to go? Right, so I'm going to put that to one side now.
Jill has put oops.
Oops, what have you done, Jill? Oh gosh.
Rizwana's said hello.
Hi Rizwana. Hi Ellie. Brilliant, Kim, well done. Good stuff. You've done it. Oh gosh. Do you mean you've done it, or do you mean you've gone and done it? Because they're quite different things.
Have you folded?
Okay, are we good with that? Right. Excellent. Yes, Ellie, you missed the gussets. They're only small gussets this week, though. You folded it. Oh, Jill. Disappointed in you. Right. Okay, let's get on and make the pages. So all I want to do tonight is I want to make this first page. Now I'm just going to show you quickly what it looks like. It's got a pocket here, which has got a acetate front. It's got these two little pockets at the bottom that I've just put some, you know, little insert mats in, but we'll do that at the end. We're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to make up this book, this page. So it's got two pockets. There's actually two here, but I've put that in front so you can't see it because I'm clever like that. So there are two pockets, this bigger one here with the acetate, and then on the back what we've got here is this ribbon closure, and then we've got some more photo mats in there, but we'll worry about photo mats at the end. Okay, so let me just tie that back up and we can get on with making this page, which your homework this week will be to decorate it up. I can't do this, I'm on fingers and thumbs today. Okay, right, so let's make that page first of all, and we'll worry about these inserts later on. We don't need to do that now. So those of you who are worrying about making tab tops, we're not going to be doing that just yet. Okay, right, so to make our base page, you're actually going to need a couple of sheets of 12 by 12 to start with. So if we do all of the cutting out, or shut, no, let's just do it bit by bit. We'll just do the covers first, the page. So I want you to cut two pieces. I want you to cut one piece at 5 inches by 9 7/8 inches. Now, normally this bit I would say cut it 5 by 10, but I know that we're going to have to cut a slither off that 10-inch side, which is why I'm saying 9 7/8. But you can cut it 10 and then just cut a slither off. This doesn't have to be precise, and it will become clear why. So we're going to cut 5 inches by 9 7/8. Or 10 and then just take a slither off. So I use a Fiskars Precision trimmer. I am a bit biased with Fiskars. As you might have noticed, I'm left-handed. And for years and years and years, I could not get the hang of trimmers. I always used a knife and a ruler to cut out everything. Had a few accidents, as Mark is just remarking on. But I just, my head just couldn't get around how trimmers worked. I just couldn't do it. And then one day I picked up one of the Fiskars Shortcuts and suddenly it just clicked and I just totally got it. And ever since then, I've just been a lover of Fiskars tools. I just think they're amazing. Now, disclaimer, I have been on the Fiskars design team twice, but that was way after I discovered them, if you see what I mean. I wanted to go on the design team because I just love the products so much. So that was a real dream come true, really, to do some bits for them. So I am biased, but now you know why I'm biased. But this is a precision, and I like it because it's got a rotary cutter that self-sharpens, so I don't have to keep changing the blades. I do have 3 of the Fiskars blade trimmers as well, which I love. It's just that I haven't got any blades for them at the moment. Which is why I'm not using them, but I just love Fiskars trimmers. I just think they're absolutely amazing. So there's the story and there's the disclaimer. Okay, so if you do get one, by the way, there is one downside to it, which Mark has sorted out. This fold is pretty much on the 6-inch line, which is a pain in the butt. But Mark has put together, and I can link you into them, these measurements here, because I don't know if you can see on mine here, but when I close it down, I've got this piece of acetate with measurements on it, and that's something that Mark put together so that I know where the measurements go across the fold, and we're happy to let anybody use that who you know, who needs it. I can send you a link to a little video that we made showing you how to install them, because it's not quite as simple as you think. And obviously the little piece themselves, which you just have to print out onto a bit of acetate. But if anybody wants that, we would be more than happy to let you have that information, because it's been a godsend to me, I have to be honest. So we've just cut that piece out, which was 9 7/8 by 5. I now want you to cut one that is 11 by 5. So you should be able to get it out the same piece of 12 by 12. Okay, and all I want you to do with this last piece that is 11 by 5 is just dropped something. Hang on, just dropped something on my foot. Right, so I want you to score on the 11-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 10.5 inches. Ooh. So what you've got here is one long piece of card with 2 parallel score marks, 1 on each side. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to fold over those flaps just like that, and we're just going to burnish them with our bone folders. Okay, now the reason that I said that we needed to cut this ever so slightly, yeah, it will work for that, Karen. I don't have so much of a bother with mine, to be honest with you, but yeah, it would, absolutely. If you go into the Paper Scissors OneDrive, you'll see that there is a folder there called Precision Trimmer, and everything you need is in there. Try it and let me know how you get on. So what we want to do is we want to take this piece which hasn't got any score marks on it, and we're going to pop it inside those folds there. And we're going to glue that down so that that forms one piece with holes in either side. Okay, like that. All right, so that's why we cut it just ever so slightly down, because if we'd cut this piece at 10 inches, it wouldn't have quite fitted in between the 2 folds. Okay, so that's why we just cut it ever so slightly less. So I'm just going to pop. What are you doing?
He's just attacked the side of my computer.
Who has?
Loki.
Loki.
He got his claws stuck in the grill.
Oh dear. Yeah, cats. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the inside of those folds there. I'm going to pop that piece inside there. and I'm going to fold those flaps over like that. Okay, so now this is my base page, and it's nice and flat on one side. It's got the folds on that side, and when you look at it, it's just like kind of forms a page with two open ends. All right, so that is our base page. So that can go to one side for a minute. What we're going to do next is we're going to make the pocket that has the acetate front. So I want you to grab your trimmers again, and I want you to cut a piece that is 11 by 5.5 inches. So that's going to be another piece of 12 by 12, isn't it?
Your sheet said score at 9.5.
You what, sorry?
Your sheet said is score at 9.5.
What do you mean?
The 11 by 5, it says score on the 11 inch side at 1/2 inch and 9.5.
Where?
Page 1. There.
Oh yeah, no, it should be 10.5. Sorry, I did it in a rush this afternoon. Right, so I'm confused now. I've lost my place. Right, so you need to cut this at 11 by 5.5 inches. Okay.
What you just cut?
11 by 5.5. And we're going to score on the 11-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 10.5 inches. And just scoot it round, and then we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch side. And that is going to form a pocket which will fit exactly on the front of our page like that. But we're going to put an acetate front on it.
Cat hair detection paper.
You what, sorry? Cat what?
Cat hair detection paper.
Yes, cat hair detection paper. So, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to draw around where we need to cut. So, I'm going to turn it over. So, this is going to be the back side of my pocket. And I'm just going to measure 1 inch, a 1 inch frame in. Oh, I think my pencil's broken. A 1 inch frame all the way around. So this is 1 inch in from that score mark, not from the edge of the card, 1 inch in from the score mark. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to have to bring it a bit closer to me because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. And now I'm going to measure 1 inch in from the bottom score line. So what I've got now on the back of my pocket is this frame here. I don't know if you can see that or how well you can see that. I've drawn in 1 inch frame from both sides and then from the bottom, but on away from the score lines. Okay. Hi Charmaine, thank you very much.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Oh good, you can see that. It's all right. My camera's just caught up. Right. So what we need to do now is cut that out. So here's my very messy crafting mat. I did have, yes, at some point, a knife. Oh, I'll keep him happy. I'll use my safety ruler, flipping heck. And I'm just going to cut that piece out. Okay. I'm concentrating and I've got my tongue out now.
What you don't cut the end off?
Hey?
What you don't cut the end off?
What, my tongue?
Yeah. probably sharper than that.
Oh, ha, 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 very funny. Right, so what I've got now is my pocket with that frame cut out. So it's 1 inch from the score marks all the way round, and then I've got my score marks here which form the pocket. Okay, so now I need to grab some acetate.
Cat hair detection paper.
Yes, cat hair detection paper, as we call it in this house. And as I was using some this morning, it probably means I've used it all and I haven't got any to hand. Oh, I have. Miracle. Right. Okay, so I now need to cut out my acetate at 9.5 by 4 7/8 of an inch. Why on earth have I said that? Oh, I'm going with it. If that's what I've said, let's try it. Right, 4 7/8 of an inch. Oh, I know why I said that. Yeah, 4 7/8 of an inch. It will make sense in a minute. By 9.5 inches. Okay, and in theory, this will now sit within those score lines. Yes, it does, miracle. Within those score lines that we've cut. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. This is the back side of my pocket. This is what's going to fit on the page. So that now will fit nicely on that frame, so that my pocket will have a nice acetate front. Okay, yeah, it works exactly the same for dog's mail. So what I need to do now is attach it. Now there's 2 ways you can do this, I find, with acetate, and if anybody's got a better way, tell me, because I am always keen to hear. But you can either use like red tape, you know, the red double-sided tape, or I use this polyester one, or you can use glossy accents, which I tend to find works quite well. And the cats are screaming, which is very helpful. So let me just see if I can find my double-sided tape, my special double-sided tape. Here we go. And I've lost my acetate, but there it is. This is the trouble when it's see-through. You can't find it. I do need some cat hairs on it. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attach my special double-sided tape, which is definitely covered in cat hairs, to the back of my pocket. Where are my scissors? How does this happen? How does this happen? Right, to the back of my pocket like that. And this tape that I'm using, it's like the red tape, you know, the red back tape, the super sticky stuff. It's virtually the same. It's just that this is better at collecting cat hairs. And it's not static when you take the back off it, which is another great thing, I think. So I want to make sure that that's stuck down really well. So I'm just going to go over it with my bone folder. And now I'm going to take the backing strip off. And I'm going to attach my acetate. Oh, cat hairs. But I'm going to attach it to make sure that it lines up perfectly with the top of that frame. And then goes down like that. And I'm just going to burnish it a little bit to make sure that it sticks really well. Okay, so if I turn this over now, you will see that this is my pocket. We're going to make that in a minute. Use these score lines. And then the actual pocket itself has got an acetate front. Okay. Good. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to attach it to our page base. So what I want you to do is make this into a pocket. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to cut off where these score lines intersect, because if we try and make a pocket with that little square in the way, it's just going to be lumpy bumpy and thoroughly horrible. So I'm going to just make a cut mark up to where the score lines intersect, and I could go straight across to mite of the corner, but I don't. I just change the direction of my scissors a little. Mel calls this kinky mitering. She'll be happy now I've said that. So that what you can see here is that I've mitered, but it's at a weird angle, and that's what we call kinky mitering. And that means that it's going to sit really, really flat when we make our pocket. So I'm going to cut up to the where the score lines intersect. I'm just going to change direction of my scissors slightly, and now I've done the same on that side. Okay, are we good with that? Excellent. And now I'm going to fold over on my score line these flaps, and that is what is going to form our pocket. What attaches to the kitchen towel? Cat fur or the back of red tape? If it's cat fur, oh, I'm going to be happy. I can't remember what it's called. It's polyester backed something or other. It's made by Sticks 2. I only found it by accident. I meant to order the red back stuff. I meant to order the red back stuff, and this is what came, and I'm like, oh crikey. What am I going to do now? And I don't like it better. Oh, the back of red tape. Oh, that's good to know. Wish it was cat hair, though. Right, okay. So now I'm just burnishing the edges of my pocket. And now I am going to attach it to the base page that we've already made. Now, the base page that we've already made, what I would consider the front of it is the bit where we haven't got the, for me, when I make books, I always end up putting the flappy bits. That's always the back of the page to me. It really doesn't matter at all which way round you do it. In fact, actually, in this case, it might possibly be better to do it the other way round. I'm going to do that just to be awkward. So I'm going to put my pocket on my page, and I'm going to turn it so that this is the bit where the flaps are, so you can see that, can't you? Yep. Right, so now I'm going to pop some glue on the back of these flaps like that. See how practiced I am at that. You can tell I've done it before, can't you? Oh, sticky. Right, oh, cat hair. And now I'm going to attach it to the front of my page, but it will fit exactly because the pocket is the same size as the page. Okay, so let's get that all stuck down. Easy bone folder. I always find that's really useful for sticking things down. Okay, so now I've got my page, which, as you know, opens up, she says, opens up like that. That's how we're going to attach it to the book. And I have got my acetate pocket like that. So the acetate's there, and I can just slip my insert into it in due course. Great. So what we need to do now is we need to make the little tiny pockets that go on the front of here. So let me show you. Now, you know I said you had homework this week. Your homework is to decorate up your pockets in this page, okay? Just a tip, you can obviously stick your pattern paper all the way round and measure it, but that's just like hard work. So when you are decorating up these side bits, all you need to do is just measure and then cut those bits that go on top of there. Okay, so now we're going to do these two little pockets here. Now, if you want to, you can add this little finger notch. It's entirely up to you whether you do that or whether you just have them straight across. Now, on this one, because I used office hours paper, or that was what it was called, that was why I kind of did the finger notch and I did the tabs, because for me that felt more in keeping with the paper that I was using. But I'm going to be using what do you call it, graphic 45 farmhouse on my book, so I'm not going to do it on that because it's just going to look a bit odd. So Diana, what the pocket looks like in the book. Okay, right, so here we go. Let me take out all of the, oh actually we are going to have to do that, aren't we? We're going to have to decorate that up before we do any more. So here we go. I've obviously just done a smaller pocket on this one. No, I like mine better, the bigger one. So we've got the inserts that go in there, and then we've got this bit which is the acetate pocket there, okay, but we've obviously made ours a bit bigger, which I like, so that's good. Okay, right, and then we've just got the inserts that pop in there. So let's cut out our pockets to go on here before we take this any further. So I want you to grab some of your base card, and I want you to cut out those two little pockets, which are 2.5 by 6 inches. Okay, so 2.5 by 6 inches. And we're going to make these in exactly the same way as we've made that big pocket. But obviously these are just slightly smaller. So I want you to score on the 6-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5.5 inches. And then scoot it round and score on the 2.5-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay. And we're going to make this in exactly the same way as the previous pocket. So where our score lines intersect here and here, I want you to kinky mitre them. There you go, just for Mel again. So it looks like that. Okay, so you haven't got quite a straight line across, but nearly. And then we're going to make them the same as every other pocket. We're going to fold on those score lines, and we're just going to burnish it down so that we get a really good crease.
And Diane's asked, so you decorated it on top of the black behind the acetate?
I did, but hang on a minute, because what we're going to do is we're just going to have a look how much we need to decorate, because we might do some decorating in a minute, but I just want to see... because for some reason I made the acetate on the other one shorter. I don't know why I did that, because I wouldn't normally, so I don't know what was going through my head then. I'd have made it like this, but I just want to check something before we go any further. So these are the pockets that go here and here. Right, I reckon if you put a finger notch on them, you're not going to see that bottom bit of your black card there, so we don't need to decorate that, but we're going to need to decorate these side bits, and obviously we're going to have to put something behind there as well. Do you want to decorate this now, or do you want to do it as your homework? I'm happy to do it now. It's entirely up to you, but if you want to watch me do it, entirely up to you. Shall I just do it and then yeah, I'll just do it and then you'll see. Right, so like I said, I'm going to use graphic 45 farmhouse, which I think is a most underrated set of papers, to be truthful. I really like it. So let's have a look. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick... I haven't even looked at these properly, but I do think these are really nice colours. I think these are terribly underrated papers. Right, somebody asked me, oh, graphic 45 papers, new smell. Oh, hang on, I need a moment. Right, anyway, they smell like no other paper. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, papers. I just cut them. And I know a lot of people like say that they spend a lot of time deciding who goes, you know, what goes where, etc, etc, etc. For me, you can always tell which papers I like the best because they're the ones that you see. So, right, my favourite papers in this office hours set was this one with the clocks on it. I just loved it. So, that's the front of my book. And you can see as you go through which ones I like the most because they're the ones that you see on the top. And then when you get like to this one where you're looking a little bit behind it, I loved these. Well, actually, I loved all of the papers. But the blues, although lovely, I didn't like as much as I liked the sort of the peachy pinks. So that's the way that I do my cutting out. I just go for it and I use the ones that I like the most on top. So I can make quick decisions when I'm cutting paper, which I know makes Mel quite nervous. So I just need to decide. Now you see that is gorgeous. I'm probably going to use that on the cover. So what shall I use on that one? I'm going to use that one. Right, so I'm going to use this as the side of my book, and I want one to go behind the acetate. So let's have a look at these patterns and solids, what goes nicely with it. That one looks good. Okay. Right, so let's start with we'll start with the easy one, and we're going to cut the bit that goes behind the acetate. Now we know that this is 5 by 10, so I'm going to cut this bit just a little bit smaller. So this is what I'm going to put behind. So I am going to cut it at 4 3/4 by, what was it, 10? 9 3/4. And in theory, that should just slot down behind there and fit in nicely, which it does. Okay, so that's good. Now, the other thing that you need to decide is, are you going to ink the edges of your paper? And I like to when I'm using Graphic 45. So I'm just going to use some black ink, and I'm just going to roughly ink the edge of that one. I only need to do the one side because that's all we're going to see. And I'm just going to put a spot of wet glue onto the back of that. And I'm going to slot it in behind that acetate, like that, and make sure that it lines up with the edge like that. Okay, squidge that down. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. I've got my edge inked and I've got that backing on now. Now you've got two choices here. We can either make a frame to go round, or we can cheat like I did and just do 2 bits and then add one across the bottom. So I know that that's 1 inch. So I want to cut my frame just slightly less than 1 inch. So I will go for, and this is where I have a problem with this thing because the other trim is better for cutting it down a little bit. If I cut it, oh, I just need to cut that end off. I need to cut this at, what did I say? It was 1 inch. Yeah. So I need to cut it at 7/8 of 1 inch. Yeah. So I can do that backwards on this trimmer. Let me just check. Yeah, that fits nicely on there like that. And I'm just going to cut that at the 5 inches. Well, actually 4 7/8. Not that it matters particularly. 4 or 7/8 or 5, it's both good. Okay. So I'm going to put one of these on each side, there and there. But first of all, I just want to ink the edges. before I glue anything else on.
Did you say 4 and 7 eighths?
Yeah, lengthwise.
Yeah, 5 7 eighths.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what I take.
Okay. And now I'm just going to glue those on the sides there. It's probably easier to do this before we stick the other bits on, although it's not the end of the world. You can still do it.
How many sheets of 12 by 12 do you think you need for the whole book?
I used, I think there's 16 in a pack of the Pink Fresh Studio. I think this, yeah, I'm pretty certain there's 16. Yeah, because there's 8 each of 2 designs. Yeah, so 16, I used all of them, to be honest with you. So I used 16 sheets of 12 by 12, and I also used a 6 by 6 pack, but I didn't use all of that. Right, so there we go. That's me just cheating a little bit and putting those on the side so that my pockets will now go on top like this. If you're going to put the finger notch in, don't put it down so far that you're going to see everything behind it, okay? But if you are going to put a finger notch in, my tip would be to cover this now and then put your finger notch in before you add this pocket to your book. You can, I don't know if anybody's got any bright ideas of how to do this, because I'm not quite sure, so I always do it the same way. But when I'm putting my finger notch in, I don't have a gap of the plain paper round there, because it's just too complicated to try and get it straight and looking tidy. So I always mat my pocket and then put the finger notch in, if that makes sense. So although you've got the edge here, you haven't got an edge of the cardstock, the plain cardstock there. But I think it still looks all right. Sorry, Mark, what did you say?
So you cut through both pieces?
Yeah, so I cut through both pieces at the same time. It just saves a lot of heartache, really, I think. And it looks, I still think it, yeah, it still looks nice. Right, so we're going to attach these little pockets, okay? So a little bit of glue. And these will fit, she says, hopefully. These will fit exactly onto your pocket. So you need to get it flush at the bottom and to the side there. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to feel like a right prat. Not as much of a prat as last week, but a prat nonetheless. So let's attach that on there.
You'd have been better to put some of that polyester tape on a little bit.
Oh, it does fit. That's a miracle. Well, it's not a miracle, but you know what I mean. Okay. So now, if you're not putting your finger notch in, when you come to decorate up these pockets, you can either do them separately or you could do it as one long strip, which is probably what I'm going to do, actually. I like the red on the back of that one. So I think I might put that on there like that as one long strip. So that's going to be 10 by 2. So I'm going to cut that at 1 7/8 of an inch. By, is it 9? Yeah, 9 and 7/8. 9 and 7/8 of an inch. I'm just going to ink around the edges. And remember, if you're going to like embellish all of your pockets and stuff, do that at the very end once we've got the pages in the book. So if I say to you that for homework I want you to base decorate or base mat your pages, all I want you to do is just put the basic paper on. I don't want you to do any fancy decorating with what do you call it, with embellishments and stuff, because that's just making life difficult for yourself later on. Okay, let's put that on there. There we go. And that's the front of my page 1 done. So I've got 2 pockets here and here. and I've got my acetate pocket there. However, we haven't got anything on the back yet. So what we need to do is cut out some flaps. Let me remind you what it looks like. On the back of the pocket here, we've got these two flaps that we're going to tie together with some ribbon, and then we're just going to slip in some photo mats. So we need to just cut these two bits out and stick them on. So if you grab your base card and your trimmer, I want you to cut 2 pieces at 5 by 4 inches. Okay, and we are going to, where have I put my scoreboard? Where is it? Oh, it's here. I tidied it up. We're going to score on the 4-inch side at 1/2 inch. So you've got your 4-inch side across the top here. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can round the corners. I think I might do that actually on this one. Yes. If I can find my corner around it. Oh, it's here. Hang on. So I'm just going to round the corners now on the corners that are furthest away from these score lines. Okay. And I'm going to fold over and burnish. Right, now I'm going to get my page, the one that I've made, and I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to glue each of these flaps, one on the bottom there and one on the top. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue on these flaps here. And I'm just going to attach that, and it fits directly across, so make sure that it lines up here. And I'm going to attach this one on the top there, like that. Okay, so now what I need to do is decorate it. So I'm going to mat the inside here. I'm going to mat the inside of those 2 flaps, and I'm going to mat the outside of those 2 flaps. Now what I can do is I can either use a hole punch and thread some ribbon round. I can put an eyelet in there to strengthen, you know, where we're going to put the ribbon. Actually, I'm going to use twine on mine because that's more appropriate to the papers that I'm using. Or you can make a policy envelope type closure, which is where you have like a circle. You might cut out a little circle with one of your circle punches and attach that circle to both ends of your these flaps here using a brad, for instance. And if you don't know, a brad is one of those like little pin heads that have got the 2 feet. I haven't got one in front of me here, otherwise I'd show you. They've got the 2 feet that you flatten. But if you're going to do that, remember to attach your ribbon underneath the circle before you put that in, and do that before you mat. Okay, all right. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. So this week, just finish off your decorating here at the back. And we're done. If you really want to, and you're still waiting for something to do because you've got your hinges dry, no bending yet, you can, if you want, flat decorate the inside and outside covers of your book. Now remember, on mine I haven't actually put any pockets on the inside cover. I chose not to put any pockets there. So all I've done is I've just put a flat piece of paper on there. If you wanted to make a pocket, you can absolutely do that. You know how to make basic pockets because that's what we've been making tonight. But just bear in mind that you'll have to make it slightly shorter because you don't want your pocket to go out where you've done those nicely rounded corners, okay? You want it to just stop just before you get to the rounded corner. So your pocket would be up to about there. It would just be that length, which is what? Let me have a look. It's about 10.5, 10 3/4 inches. But that's entirely up to you. I'm not going to add any pockets onto mine there. And then if you want to just base decorate the inside and outside of your book, you can do. So that means putting just the base paper on there, the spine and the back. So if you want to do that because you don't want to wait, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll do the middle page and we'll see how we get on. If we want to do any more, we might do a few inserts. We'll see how we get on with that. So that's all I want you to do this week. If you've got any problems, just drop me a line. You know how to contact me in the group. You can send me a message. Sorry, Alison, can tell me what the 4 by 7/8. That was the measurement, I think, for the front of... Is it that one? Oh no, that's these bits. That was the pattern paper that I just put here, just to cover up the legs of my the edge of my acetate pocket. So that it wasn't a structural thing. It was just for the size of the bits that I made there. Okay. Right, so yeah, you know how to contact me if there's any problems. If you want to know more about policy envelope closures and stuff, just let me know and I can easily do another quick live or whatever. Do I leave a border on my pattern papers? I like to leave a border so you can see my cardstock. Yeah, I do. So you can see here that there is actually a little bit of a border around. And it's the same on these as well. There's a little bit of I like to leave like a cardstock border around, yeah. And I usually do that about 1/8 of an inch because you can do it any size you like. Some people like to have a great, quite a big, bit of their cardstock showing. But I don't, personally, I don't like so much. So I only usually take about 1/8 of an inch off, whatever the measurement is. So I hope that helped. Contact me if you need anything, and I will see you back here at 7 o'clock next Thursday. Thanks for joining me. Bye.